Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon. Welcome once again to the final WebTalk of IUCEL2022 Revolutionizing Learning Analytics, Making It Works, which will be delivered soon by Associate Professor Dr. Nurfadhlina Muhammad Sharef. I am Nadia Akmal binti Baharum from the Faculty of Biotechnology and Biomolecular Sciences, and I will be your moderator for this session. Before we start, I would like to encourage all IUCEL participants who have not yet visited our IUCEL town. You are welcome to do so. Our town has been designed to give you an immersive experience of being in UPM, virtually of course. We have so many attractions there, poster rooms, sponsor booth, games. I'm sure you are going to love it. So coming back to our talk, please be informed that we are not going to have any Q&A session, but I'm sure our speaker will be more than happy to interact with you throughout our virtual conference in our IUCEL town. So I'm sure that the Fadlina or Dr. Fad is no stranger to e-learning community, but allow me to share a little bit about her. Dr. Nurfadhlina is an associate professor in intelligent computing, and she is also currently the deputy director of innovation in teaching and learning at the Center for Academic Development, CADe UPM. She is an enthusiast of intelligent systems, we can see that, and promotes artificial intelligence as the solutions for the problems at hand. Chatbot is one of her latest research related to educational technology, which was implemented through her team's invention called Cikgu AI Bot. She even had a workshop yesterday on chatbot, and it was a very fruitful session. So I believe today we are going to have another great session with Dr. Fad. Dr. Fad, in Dr. Fad we trust. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Nurfadhlina to deliver her talk, Revolutionizing Learning Analytics, Making It Works.
All right, let's go. Thank you, Dr. Yaya, for your very encouraging, very warm, and very nice introduction about myself. I would like to extend firstly a warm welcome to everyone on behalf of Kate and as myself as the Vice Chair of IUCEL 2022. Hopefully that you all have had a great experience so far and benefiting from the array of events that we have created for you. Today, I'm going to share with you, this is actually quite a heavy title, but I think that you must have detected that learning analytics is going around everywhere. Yesterday, we had one session talking about learning analytics, and today, by me, and tomorrow, we're going to have a keynote session on it. So let's see some of my experience sharing on how learning analytics could be revolutionized for the education. The presentation that I am going to share with you is partly the work that have been done at CADe, as well as the works that have been done by my team over the years on learning analytics. And I also am happy to represent the National Artificial Intelligence Direction Task Force, talking about how we should revolutionize for learning analytics. This lady is such an idol to me. She is the chief decision scientist at Google Cloud, and she has given an advice about the leadership teams on decision processes. I believe that the learning analytics should be looked from the perspective of leadership and data science governance. For us to be able to revolutionize learning analytics for the benefit of many, we need to identify firstly about who's in charge, who should be the one that give or dictate the whole direction, and identify suitable use cases and focus also on the outputs and how it impacts to our daily routine. We need to also do some reality checks, either in terms of the data, in terms of the facilities, and in terms of the readiness of manpower. Then we need to assemble the team. So I would like to borrow the term, the marvelous, the Avengers. I'm really thankful for many people around me who has contributed and inspires me. And the whole team has able to go through many case studies, and we identify our discoveries, and I'm going to share them with you today. And from all of this, we need to craft a business performance metric wisely. We don't want to add to the job and commitment that has already overburdened the educators. We should be thinking about how AI should be able to become an assistant and give better experience to the educator as a good learning designer and as an informed educator as well as helping students. Let us go through the first part on the current implementation. At UPM, we are blessed that we have already thought about learning analytics that go across the LMS. From our transition, we are still doing the supporting blended learning. We have started the substitute blended learning, and we were one of the first university which have started that back in 2019, even before COVID has been our main challenge. And then we have worked on our MOOC since 2014, and we are now currently working on how credit transfer can be made happening, and we're developing micro-credential courses. On the left side here, this is actually all these are taken from a talk that I delivered on behalf of CADe in 2018 to the Innovate Center at the Faculty of Educational Studies, where at the time we have looked into how education can benefit from AI, and it is called education analytics. You can see that education analytics encompass many of the stakeholders, but for the scope of my presentation today, we will look into mainly how learning analytics can be implemented. At CADe, one of our routine, or I would say the staple analysis work that we have done, we have to report to not only the university, we report also to the Ministry of Higher Education on all this information. We have to report in terms of the completion of blended learning, how many courses have achieved each blended learning, how many courses have been developed, how many courses have awarded digital badges. We analyze also exit survey. All of these are based on some regular schedule, and we were also in charge for some of ad hoc analysis for the benefit of the university. Let us go to the introduction or the definition of learning analytics, which can be explained by a hybrid of technology and educational pedagogy, which mainly it is about analyzing the data, collecting the data, measuring what's inside, and reporting the data about learners and their context in their learning environment, and for the purpose of understanding and optimizing learning and the environments in which it occurs. So this means that the context of learning analytics should benefit the educator, student, as well as the administrator. There are four kinds of learning analytics, which encompass from the descriptive to diagnostics, predictive, and prescriptive learning analytics. And these are for the purpose should be to improve the quality of educational services. At UPM, we use this system called student management system. Student management system, correct? A student information system, which is in one of the reporting that we have, is for us to identify how many students have managed to attain each of the learning outcome. This is taken from a course in computer science, so we use computer performing standard, but basically this is similar to all the courses, and this is our way to identify how we could improve the learning design. The UPM Learning Management System, our SMP, have four main modules. From the content that we deliver for our students, we have four analytic scope, which are blended learning reporting, teaching assessment, online practical survey, and online lab survey. This is for us to identify how many courses that have completed about the performance in each of the blended learning, and for us to also identify what kind of improvement can we do, because there is a national KPI and university level KPI that we need to achieve. The teaching assessment analysis is for us to identify the student satisfaction and rooms for improvement. So we look into total respondents, total answered, and percentage, as well as the mean. And the other system that we have is the online exit survey. We have aspects that relates to the students' overall satisfaction for their campus and their learning experience. And all these are being used for us to re-strategize and improvise. And there are meetings at various levels for us to re-strategize. But ladies and gentlemen, as you have seen so far, the analysis that we have is mainly on descriptive because it only tells how it is now. Let us look from another perspective, coming up into my second part of the presentation on the teaching and learning innovation for a better tomorrow. And yes, indeed, this is taken from the theme of IUCEL 2022. At UPM, we are proud that we are now the 123rd university in the world, and we aspire to improve even further. And this is aligned with one of our strategic planning to prepare students which are future proof and resilient. And with this, we are thinking in the perspective of future education. And we define this as inclusive education that emphasizes on human and empowers on digital technology, not the other way around or the normal preconception that digital can replicate human. Nah, that's not correct. So in UPM, one of the strategic planning is for vision number one, producing resilient graduates to face future challenges. We have lined up strategic objectives, including added value and improving academic program effectiveness aligned to current demands, and improving infrastructure as well as infrastructure. So, how do we achieve this vision? There are several objectives that we have identified. UPM as a higher education institution should move towards smart digital campus and high technology in teaching and learning scope, services, infrastructure, research, and sustainability. And this includes the exploration of utilizing IoT, artificial intelligence, and data usage analytically. We want to also close the graduate skills and knowledge gaps, and I would like to happily say that objective number one should be able to achieve all the other objectives highlighted here for smart collaboration for the quadruple helix, as well as to return the benefits for developing our students, community, and spur meaningful contribution to wealth and development of the country. Learning analytics can be done by using several data, such as grade, quiz attempts, time spent learning, learning design, course completion, forum engagement, and choice of materials to answer questions such as listed on the left. We want to be able to identify what are the recipe of students that are excellent, what are the common factors of these students who needs help, how do we intervene, how do we personalize their learning experience, how do we achieve all of those, and also identifying students at risk. And we are now considering not only our conventional program, as well as the micro courses through our online course in Mohd, as well as the micro credentials. We have lined up this plan for learning analytics at UPM. Currently, we are having this strength for course assessment analytics. We are able to identify the course learning outcome, achievement, and gaps, and we conduct intervention manually in the next semester, and we want to maintain and improve the teaching approach for the next cohort. Aligned with the strategic planning, we have already done several case studies to accomplish number 2, number 3, and number 4. I'm going to share with you across the presentation that I have prepared for you today. As a representative in the AI Education National Roadmap, the among of the projects that we are considering for education are personalized learning system, intelligent automated assessment system, and intelligent graduates profiling for national future driven workforce. All of this can be accomplished based on AI driven LMS for individualizing learning, or we call it also personalizing learning for inclusive learning experience. Now, allow me to share part 3, which is on an array of pilot projects or case studies towards precision education. In 2018, and a group of us from the computer science faculty, together with 2 other universities in UTP, University Technology Petronas, and the University Technology Technical Melaka, we have created this project. We have accomplished this project under Malaysia Research University Network on the technology for future learning ecosystem. Among of the scope that we have studied was on learning analytics. Please feel free to scan the QR code to get your free copy of the playbook. In the study, we have identified the steps for learning analytics development as well as the steps for learning analytics implementation. On the right side, you can see that it is very important for us to define the policy objectives, to identify the stakeholders, the purposes, and to build awareness and performance indicators. Because of that, we have identified that we need to develop a precision personalized learning advisor. And this should be as a plugin extension in LMS through human machine learning based prescriptive analytics on conversational chatbot. This is so that we can transform and revolutionize education today using AI so that learners would have more enjoyable experience yet a very meaningful and valuable one. For the instructor to give better services and to be engaging with the students. But however, nowadays it is very difficult for the educators to do that on top of the existing burden that we have or commitment that we have. We need a platform or an assistive tool that can assist us and can inform us about the gaps and automate some processes. For the institution, which needs to be able to diagnose the program and student completion, the PPLA needs to be there as well. And the intelligent assistant, imagine that there is a bot in the form of chatbot to monitor the learner's progress, participation, satisfaction, and achievement. All students would feel that they are being attended to. And at the same time, the educator can also monitor what are the interaction that the learner are having around them, among themselves, as well as the learners interaction with the chatbot, and the instructor can improvise and in the form of his pedagogy. So we are considering both the conventional educational system as well as self-paced learning system. For us to be able to do that, we need to use learning analytics API. All universities, all public universities in Malaysia uses Moodle, and the Moodle luckily have this learning analytics API, which allows us to access the data at the back end for us to know and analyze the course access, activity views, activity submissions, gradebook completion, feedback, and interaction. So among the case studies that we have done at CADe, for example, we have looked at CPD analysis. We have many continuous professional development courses that CADe provided, and we have the rating score for each of the webinar. From that, we identify what is the webinar that has the most demand and most preferred and needed by people across time, and what are the satisfaction rating. For in 2020, CADe has been instructed to do an ad hoc study on the impact of online learning methods in UPM, where we look at the implications of online learning methods conducted in the second semester compared against the conventional method. And we also identified students' experiences on online learning in terms of their communication, understanding, assessment, and environments, as well as their readiness for online learning to be implemented in the future. All the insights have been used to identify the faculty which needs training support for online teaching approaches, for us to improvise our infrastructure and strategy for students to be physically present. We have also used the data that is collected through this, and at the faculty, we extended it for CGP prediction using machine learning. And this is purposely to identify what would be the possible outcome from the long implementation of online learning. Another project that my team has explored was on IEEE Circuit and Signal System Society, where we have developed a platform called CASMILE. In CASMILE, which offers AI courses, biomedical research, journey of IEEE Fellow and Women in CAS courses to global society, we have extended and developed our own dashboard to analyze the batches awarded lessons and lessons completion. We also look at the learners' preferences and identify the learners according to their strength and the students' competencies accomplishment. Another project that have been done was at the Faculty of Computer Science together with CADe, where we analyzed data from Putra course. There was one poster presented today in IDEL taken from this project. So the purpose of this project was to analyze the achievement of the students in terms of their learning outcome, and we cluster also students according to their chronotype. Chronotype is how students learn based on their temporal or time preferences. We also look at the learner type based on their performance, and we find the relationship or recipe between the students who perform excellent and who has weakness and who needs help for us to come up with this pilot study on personalized learning support. And the visualization also matters. From the study, when we evaluate this with a group of lecturers, many of them highlighted to please not add their burden. So it is very important, and the team has learned to not add to extra work of others, but rather to utilize, to leverage AI for improvements of many. The project that have been done for Putra was also extended to identify new enrollment as well as the accomplishment in the badges, and also to analyze students' effort, the popularity, trends, completion analytics, and we look also at badges. Now UPM is embarking on micro credentials, and we are, from the experience that we have so far, we are prepared for learning analytics for enrollment, participation, popularity, engagement, achievement, completion analytics, for us to develop an intelligent student advisory for personalizing learning plans for the students, as well as to also support for continuous quality improvements in terms of the learning design and curriculum content. The IDEC, Info Communication Development Center at UPM, has supported us a lot, and we have now building this UPM Learning Data Lake, where this learning data lake, considering all the experience before, based on the case studies that we have created, and align with the strategic plan, we wanted to develop a digital cockpit for the educator as well as for the students. So this learning data lake is hopeful to be able to achieve our dream just now. At the national level, through the collaboration with computer science and information technology faculty, we wanted to develop PPLA with 3 modules, where it is first is for instructors personalized learning assistant, second is for learners personalized chatbot and as advisor, and third for institutions learning analytics dashboard. So over the years, from the case studies, we have been learning, and we are now ready to go towards upscaling. Before we go towards upscaling, one of the things that we have thought of is to consider this framework, human in the loop machine learning, because we imagine if the prediction really happens and we implement it, we have to consider that the machine learning performance would be different and would need to be rebuilt, Based on our experience, each course has different student characteristics and indeed different learning design. So all the pilot studies that we have done allowed us to identify what are the recipe in each of the course. And because of that, we know that there is possibility that the prediction developed by the machine learning would need to be improvised. And because of that, we are considering this human in the loop machine learning framework. Now, let us be ready for all of our contribution. Everyone plays our own role. Let us look at how we contribute to the way forward. This does not only apply in UPM, but we aim to use UPM as the case study and as a pilot to implement and to upscale so that we can amplify AI effectiveness and AI benefits for many. We need to revolutionize for the governance, infra, and infrastructures. Because of that, we consider the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. We have this strength. We have ready info and infrastructure. We know that the knowledge base is ready as a historic knowledge base. And that is why we developed the data lake for learning. We wanted to integrate the database from SMP, Putra Blast, Putra Mohd, and MC with the schema mapping. We know that there is high readiness among students, lecturers, and administrators for AI-based apps. And we know that lecturers and students have good skills and acceptance of online teaching pedagogy. Despite this strength, we are aware of the weaknesses and the gaps that we need to close. Currently, the systems are isolated and require some modules improvements. The teaching pedagogy and delivery service that we are conducting now considers conventional approach by default and not many proper usage of the system. For example, the grading that we do now is submitted into the SMP um, instead of submitted into the Putra Blast. While we can analyze the Putra Blast, well, we can analyze the SMP as well, but some change needs to be happen. For example, for us to give continuous support to the students, the AI need to be able to understand what's happening as well. AI-based apps for teaching and learning would be new to UPM. So there should be some opportunity as well to improvise the skills and knowledge through training platform. And there are also opportunity to implement data-driven student advisory. This would make the students happy, yet making sure that they become resilient and happy alumni to come back to the university and to contribute to the society. We want to implement the intelligent assistant for students, lecturers, and administrators. Imagine having an open edumetric dashboard for supporting decision making. And we know now we must transform. We should have better integrity, and all the data must be evaluated according to interoperability, reusability, usefulness, applicability, appropriateness, and effectiveness. We are aware of the threats as well. The unculturation of the data-driven insights requires buy-in from not only the educators as well as from the top decision making. And we need also some guide and some help as well as financial from the relevant parties. Standardization of data driven actions based on the predictive and prescriptive learning analytics requires proper change management strategy. Being aware of this, we are still hopeful that the way forward, we can establish this vision, we can redefine our roles and responsibility, and we know that we need to form a data stewardship. We need to identify new KPI. Hopefully this won't haunt you. Hopefully this is for the better. And for us to ready to roll out and sustain. And data governance is essentially about establishing practices and processes to help you understand data and standardize the answers to some important questions. I would like to thank and give my appreciation to many people at the MRAN project, my learning analytics teams over the year, the CADe the IDEC, my data mining students, my FYP students, and my postgraduate students. And again, thank you for your support for IUCEL 2020.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fat. I think you made the right choice to believe in her. So much patience, so much information that enlightened our understanding on learning analytics, artificial intelligence. I think we might have probably heard about learning analytics before, most of us, but we never really understood how learning analytics, artificial intelligence can improve ourselves as educators and help our students to improve their motivation, their learning performance, learning experience. So I think let's all take the take-home message from Dr. Fad. Let's all equip ourselves with more knowledge, get everyone to take part in this process so that we can fully make use of learning analytics, artificial intelligence for the sake of not only our learners but also ourselves. So thank you so much again, Dr. Fad. Before we end the session, I would like to just remind you that we are going to have the second poster judging session in the afternoon, which will commence at 2 p.m. Soon. Other than that, see you around in our IUCEL town. Thank you so much. So I hand this over back to our MC. Thank you.